For more insight on Secretary Yellen's visit to Africa, I'm joined from Washington by Floriselle Liser, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Corporate Council on Africa. Flori, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, I do not recall seeing a U.S. secretary visiting, a Treasury secretary for that matter, visiting the continent. What do you think Yellen's visit to Africa says about President Biden's strategy to engage with the continent?
Well, first of all, I think that following up from the very successful U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit and Business Forum that was held in Washington, it was really important to see that we are not just talking, but there's a walk that goes with the talk. And Secretary Yellen is the first, I believe, Treasury Secretary to visit Africa in many decades, I believe. And she is going to have other trips that she does, but also there will be many other U.S. cabinet secretary officials that will travel. President Biden himself and Vice President Kamala Harris will also be taking trips to the continent. And I think for Secretary Yellen, she is showing that the partnership with Africa is really a critical one, and that the United States takes it seriously, not just the government, but our private sector. She'll make the case that private sector-led growth is critical, that business and partnerships between U.S. and African businesses there are great opportunities for this, given what the continent has to offer.
Right. So what do you think the overall impact of her visit is going to be for the entire continent?
Well, I think the overall impact will be to reassure Africans and to re-emphasize with Africans that they are important to the United States, that we understand that there are no critical global issues, whether it's food security, health resilience, debt resilience and restructuring, climate change. There are no issues that can be resolved without Africa being a major part of that. And so her being there and others who will come, like Linda Thomas Greenfield and others, will continue to work with the Africans on the U.S.-Africa economic partnership and the partnership that goes beyond that. Whether it's, as I said, in health, in food, in agricultural production, and strengthening the ties. We are a great partner. The United States is a great partner of Africa, and there are so many opportunities now to strengthen that bond.
Flori, very well put. Thank you very much for that perspective. Floriselle Liser is President and Chief Executive Officer of the Corporate Council on Africa.
Thank you so much for having me.